Do a personal victory lap, you know. Pibb Extra is no more. Good fucking riddance to it. I will not miss it. If I had to give a rating to that particular soda and everything, having tried it, been aware of it, I would give it a 0 out of 10. Literal dog shit tastes better than it. It was absolutely vile and disgusting. It wasn't even close to Dr. Pepper. You know, they said that they were trying to go after us and everything, but Dr. Pepper was good, and Miss Pibb Extra was disgusting! Positively fucking vile. And all you people who love it so much, all I can say is get taste, because there must be something wrong with your taste buds. Because that shit is vile. You know, and anyways, it was undrinkable. Like I said, I mean, I shared my story and everything. Back in 2001 and everything, in 2000, I had gotten to the point where I would tell my family members to go out and buy this in the old cans, you know, with the little guy on the front of it and everything, the way that it used to be, the soda used to be branded and everything. Got a link from another, you know, person who felt much the same way as I did and everything, and, you know, we have lamented this shift for years and years and years and years and years. You know, this is at last the curse is lifting moment for me. You know, the market is healing and everything, and, you know, so there's the plain cheeses flashback, the sad story of Mr. Pibb and Pibb Extra. So if you want to see what the cans looked like back then, you know, let's try, see, that's the image of one, you know, and so this person, if I were to subtitle this post, it would be why I have a 12-year-old unopened can of Mr. Pibb in my refrigerator, because I do. Let's go back to the late 90s, early 2000. When I was in college, pulling all-nighters on an ambitious art project, and downing an inordinate amount of caffeine. Mr. Pibb, often styled as Mr. Pibb, which is, you know, P with, you know, the Pibb has a capital P, and then there's a lowercase I, and then an uppercase BB, was my savior, you know, my soft drink of choice. Until 2001, when Coca-Cola reformulated the drink and replaced my beloved original with Pibb Extra. It was rebranded as a, quote, bolder, unquote, version of the original Mr. Pibb. Most claim it to be spicier, possibly having added cinnamon. It was rumored that Pibb Extra contained additional caffeine as well, but that isn't true. And some people say it tastes exactly the same. It's not. It doesn't, you know. Some people say it's exactly the same. It's not. I gave Extra a shot, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it at all, you know? When I realized then, over a decade ago, that the original wasn't coming back, you know, I left the one open case that you can see above, a reminder, a memorial, if you will, in my refrigerator, and it goes where I go. To say, to this day, Pibb Extra is still the Dr. Pepper of the Coke world. Well, it's not anymore. You know, thank God. The curse is finally lifting and everything. With the original Mr. Pibb nowhere to be found. I'm not alone in my sadness over this loss. There was a petition from Petition Online, you know, being circulated about it. There's even an entire American Dad episode about it. Details of its history and its demise are so often mentioned on wikis and message boards. SodaFinder.com even has some available. Each can is $24.99. You know, and everything, but this was a really a long time ago, you know. You know, so this was forever, a long time ago. Eventually, I traveled over to the Dr. Pepper camp, and it's been my love ever since. And the same thing happened with me. Some say that Pibb Extra and Dr. Pepper taste the same, but they really do not. And of the two, I think Dr. Pepper is superior. So do I. And if I'm given a choice of Coca-Cola, only well, this person says they get Coke. not pibb extra, of only Coke products, I might have a grudge. Now, as for myself, if I'm given a choice of only Coca-Cola products, I'm leaving and coming back. I'm saying I'll be back and then coming back with my, my little Stanley type cup and everything that's filled with Dr. Pepper. Fuck them. Or I'm demanding water, especially because it enables me to stab the business in the back that didn't carry, Dr. Pepper. Because it costs them more to serve customers that ask for water, and I know it, and I love that it stabs them in the back for being, for engaging in anti-American, uncompetitive behavior. So good, that it costs them money, that they don't make anything there. Fuck them. That's what you get for being so anti-American and everything. So either I'll take water or I'll come back and get what I want. When I go to the movie theater, I tend to stock my, I tend to know that I'm going to go to the movies the next day and everything and have it all planned out. So I'll go get some soda and put it in the fridge, so that I can smuggle it in. I don't settle. I've never, I don't compromise and everything. And, so anyways, Pibb Extra versus Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is the vastly superior, drink and everything. And, it just is, The thing that really gets me too is that if there's that speculation about like cinnamon being in it, like I like cinnamon rolls, I like cinnamon toast and everything. I don't really, I don't dislike cinnamon, but I don't know that I would want it in a soda, and extra cinnamon in a soda, it just, this is a very artificial type of cinnamon if it is and everything, and so it's just, no. Anyways, so, it's that artificial candy-ish, extra hot, cinnamon that we're talking about. It's not, actual cinnamon that we're talking about, and everything. And it just, the thing that really gets me, in such a big way too, and really pissed me off the most was the way that they marketed this one, for years and years and years and years and years and years, like there's a person, Cindy, back in February 5th, 2001, at 10:57 a.m. wrote, when I was pregnant back in 1990 and 2000, Mr. Pibb was one of the only things I could keep down. At the time that Pibb Extra was coming out, I worked next door to the Coca-Cola plant. I called them asking why I was not able to find Mr. Pibb all of a sudden, and they said because they phased it out in order to bring out about Pibb Extra. They said they were doing so to go after the Dr. Pepper market. I told them if I wanted Dr. Pepper, I would be drinking it and not Mr. Pibb. I also asked them if they remembered the new Coke fiasco. Obviously, this did not get me anywhere with the plant workers and everything. You wanted Dr. Pepper, people? You wanted them? I love Dr. Pepper. I've got my other room full of it and everything. I didn't want what you did with Pibb Extra. I would rather drink cat piss than what you did. It was fucking disgusting. Pibb Extra was a 0 out of 10 soda. 0.0 followed by an infinite progression of zeros. It was disgusting. One of the worst things that I've ever tasted in my entire life. So, when they did it, I went back to Dr. Pepper and abandoned Mr. Pibb entirely. I wasn't drinking it at all. And, part of this is just that I'm an autistic hyper taster and everything. So, my taste buds don't work like the rest of yours do. And so I taste every little subtle difference that happens to something and everything, which is why I was able to tell Mr. Pibb apart from, from Mr. Pibb and everything, and preferred it at, Mr. Pibb. Mr. Pibb was vastly, of the three, if we're talking about, Pibb Extra, Dr. Pepper versus, Mr. Pibb and everything, Mr. Pibb is obviously the best of all three. And everything, and yet, here we are, and everything, and they tried the new Coke shit on us. And what really pissed me off the most is that Coke never admitted it. We're even telling that lady, we're trying to go after the Dr. Pepper fans. Well, you didn't get us! All you did was send the ones that you had already won right back into the arms of Dr. Pepper. So, I was trying to buy Mr. Pibb and everything, and if you wanted to sell me Pibb Extra, well, you just lost me. as a customer and everything. And then one thing that gets me is that despite the fact that this platform in particular has a very loud group of people that disagree with me and everything, and say that, and there's a lot of review sites that disagree with me and say that pibb xtra is the better, one of all of it, the Pareto principle doesn't lie. In this case, 80% of the business Coke will be with 20% of their customers, and I'm part of that 20%, and everything. I've got like at least 5, basically almost 12, 2-liter bottles and a bunch of 12 packs of Dr. Pepper, and even the little 6-pack of the ones in the plastic case, and everything out there in the other room and everything, because I've been buying it up until just recently when I found out about this and that, it was available at Safeway and everything. So, Coke decided to phase out pibb xtra. The market is finally healing. This is good riddance to Coke, to pibb xtra. I'm so glad my nightmare about this product is finally over and has finally come to an end. This is a time to celebrate for me and everything, and piss on all the upset fans of that vile horse piss that pibb xtra was. Old Mr. Pibb and pibb xtra were fundamentally different beverages. They were fundamentally separate sensory experiences. They didn't taste at all alike and everything. And this is what kills me about all of it, is that, Coke was doing this and everything. You were creating a fundamentally different product, and so it's attracted a niche audience and everything, but the broad market and the spreadsheets don't lie and everything. Dr. Pepper was being bought like it was our fucking religion and everything. You can request their spreadsheets from them and everything about their sales figures, and it'll show and everything that there was a hard slam back towards Dr. Pepper and everything, and the numbers reflect it and everything. There was a complete wholesale rejection of pibb xtra by the Dr. Pepper fandom. I didn't want it. And that's what kills me, is that, right back in 2000, with the frustration, right back in 2000 and everything, they had won me over. I found Mr. Pibb to be a fundamentally smoother experience, a slightly sweeter experience, and so they had pried that market share away from Dr. Pepper, only to try to do something fundamentally different and distinct from Dr. Pepper and everything, while still claiming to go after us, to want the Dr. Pepper consumer. Well, you didn't get us and everything, and now you're finally getting us to dip our toes back into that territory and everything. It's not nostalgia, it's consumer preference and everything. I fucking found pibb xtra to be absolutely fucking disgusting and everything, and the fact that there's a crowd of people on YouTube that love it is just them being more visible than me. I'd rather drink cat piss than pibb xtra. I'm not gonna settle for it, and if the place I go only has Dr. Pepper, I'm coming back with my Stanley-ish cup and everything, and filling it with what I want. Fuck them. Fuck Coke, fuck Pepsi. I want Dr. Pepper or something close to it and everything. And, pibb xtra is appropriately close to it. Not pibb xtra, but... Sorry, pibb xtra is vile horse piss. Mr. Pibb is appropriately close to, what I want. This stuff is appropriately close to Dr. Pepper. The pibb xtra is not. And everything. I mean, they changed things quite radically and everything, and then they tried to say that they wanted us and everything. They wanted the Dr. Pepper consumer. No, you don't. You clearly you're completely out of touch with the consumer. You think that what we want was pibb xtra? Fuck you. You don't know us at all.